Hey happy campers, welcome to my house. The March update for the newsletter for North Oregon is going to be a how-to video, which I hope to improve upon and leave up as a permanent fixture to help be a really easy go-to tool, actually for anybody in Oregon, on how to register for national qualifiers. First of all, I have to apologize for the cough drop in my mouth. I got something from Berkeley and it hasn't gone away yet, which is very annoying. Anyway, so the goal for what we're going to do today is walk you through the process of how to use the Joy of Tournaments website to be able to register your kids for NAT quals. So as you can see here, what we've got going on is we have the login, and as you can see, I've already had an account created, but if you're new to Joy of Tournaments and you need to link your address to a particular school, you'll go through the Create New Account program. It's pretty straightforward in the sense of signing in, using your email address, your password, creating a new account, and linking it to a school. It's been years since I've done it. I don't feel like trying to do it right now because I don't want to mess up my own login, if that makes sense. But if you're having trouble creating a new account, feel free to email me or private message me on Facebook to get some help with going through the process. So let's say you've made the account and let's say you're ready to log in your students. So you'll go to the Joy of Tournaments website and you will have your email address and your password and you'll log in. So you're going to be usually most of the time linked up to using the high school, and it'll usually always be to the high school, and so you're going to scroll down until you find our tournament, North Oregon NSDA, and it brings you to this screen. There are 5 links, tiny. I have to apologize. This particular website is a little tedious to navigate, and a lot of the links are super tiny. I suppose I should zoom in a little bit. The home page is the invitation page. Honestly, this has all the information that you need for due dates, registration times, website, what to bring, how judges work. The vast majority of emails that I get asking questions about NAT quals can usually be answered on this page. It's a little bit long, it's a little bit tedious, but it is worth it. So you can see we're going to be at Mount Hood Community College again on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. No final word yet about a compressed schedule, but we're working on it. Talks about certain things to be prepared for, judges, district tournament registration form, how you can pre-populate that from this particular website. Single entry letter of intents, oratory scripts. I know that today is the 5th, and I know that a lot of people don't have their oratory scripts into me yet. I also know that this website was down earlier today. I won't tell if you won't tell if I get oratory scripts tomorrow or Saturday, but they really do have to be into me before the tournament starts. It has to be hard. I have to have hard copies printed and ready to go before the tournament starts, so that we can go through and check scripts for quoted word lengths and things like that. All that good sort of stuff. Talks about what you need to bring if you have students who are doing interpretation, making certain that all your students are entered in the NFL a week before the tournament starts. Please don't be like, oh, Joe's not registered yet. It's 3 days before the tournament. I'll put in his points. He has more than 25 points. It doesn't work that way. Again, deadlines that are listed down here for when initial registration, registration changes, adds and drops, as well as the school fee, uncovered judging fees, who you make the checks out to, and all that good jazz. A new entry here about student eligibility requirements, making certain that your students are registered on the NSDA website and linked to your school. And also talking about events, what students can enter events into and their entry limitations. It's all here on the invitation. The second link is tournament documents, and this is all really important stuff. These are all links to Google Docs, and again, email me if you're having trouble bringing up any of these documents. But the tournament registration form is a document that you can bring up that you want to. You can use this document to make your own registration form. You don't necessarily need to use this, but you can if you so choose. Single entry letter of intent forms. Again, these are for students who are entering in multiple events. They need to identify which event that they're going to go to nationals if they qualify in multiple events. Plus, there are also rules about when you're in a team event with another partner. Please read all those rules. If you have any questions, feel free to PM me. Finally, whoa, hi. Sorry about that, guys. Let's back up here. Team bonus entry forms. Sprague never gets to use this. I think this is really only going to be useful for maybe, Westview? I don't know. Can Westview fill in all of their potential? I don't know. Patrick, you guys have got the massive team size. Maybe you can be able to get the extra bonus folks in. Who knows? And then the district tournament manual. I cannot stress how important it is. Like, just to download it to your computer and read it this weekend. Understand that there's nothing hidden or foreign about how the tournament runs. All the rules are in here, okay? So you want to talk about how the tournament is matched, how the debates are matched, how the IEs are matched, how the double elimination tournament runs. We're not using the California plan. You need the specific event rules for each of the speech and debate events, instructions and guidelines for judges and how to judge. There's just a wealth of information in the district tournament manual, and I promise you, your students are reading this manual. They are going to be versing themselves in how this tournament runs. We as coaches ought to at least get through here and be relatively knowledgeable about this as well. Sometimes at the end of tournaments, when the matching starts to get complicated and weird esoteric rules kick in, we bring coaches into the tab room to show you, okay, here's why your two teams now have to hit each other. And we usually go back to the rule book. So having looked through the rule book and understanding, oh, there are some times where things that don't normally happen at a regular Oregon high school tournament are happening here, but I've read the rule book and I understand why that can potentially happen. Sharing that information with your students is really important as well. And then finally, the tentative schedule. I cannot begin to impart on you how tentative the schedule is. It will change next week, and I will, unlike other tournaments, if there's a change in the schedule, I will post it here and make certain that everybody knows that the schedule has been changed in the sense of the number of rounds and how long it takes. So the third link is what to bring to registration. If you paid attention to the invitation, all of this stuff makes sense too. The real important thing to understand is at some point very soon I'm going to get an email from the home office telling me how much money each of the schools owe, and I'll send an email out to those people. So you need to make certain that you're bringing your NFL fees. You cannot compete if you either A, have not paid, or B, do not bring your money to the tournament. You also have to make certain you have all of your registration forms with you. Every year somebody doesn't get a principal signature. Let me tell you what I do. I print out my form with my initial registration sometime next week. And then I go and I sit down with my principal and I have him sign all the forms. And then I send out those forms with for the student and parent signatures, because you need to get parent and student signatures on some of these forms as well. Do it all next week. Don't wait until the week after when we're getting close to actual NAC quals. Do it during next week. And then you won't have to worry. Because you never know if your principal's going to be in the building the Wednesday before you leave for NAC quals, and then all of a sudden you're like, I need to get my principal signature. Oh no, he's not here today, so do it next week. The other forms, of course, you have to remember the single entry letter of intent forms. Those have to be a part of it as well. And then original sources for interpretations, as well as photocopied scripts of the interpretations. I don't know, I've been going to this tournament for a decade, and no one has like gone crazy and challenged a script, and I think that's because we all do a really good job of bringing our scripts. If people started not bringing their scripts, I think the debate gods would punish us in a way that I don't want to have to go and tell students I can't, I have to kick them out of the tournament because they don't have some fundamental part. So this what to bring page is really important, and I would also just use this as my checklist for next week. Do I have all of these things done? The registration page is super important, and it has to be linked to your NSDA account, which means your login for Joy of Tournaments may be different for your login for registration. So I can tell you right now that my passwords are different for Joy of Tournaments and NSDA. But since I've logged in before, my computer remembers those settings, so you don't see my login screen. But what you're going to find is your login information for JOT, if it's different from NSDA's website, that means you're logging in two different ways, and that's what I have to do, although you can't see it. As you can see, when I originally set up my account, I had linked myself to Sprague High School, and this is all information that the Joy of Tournaments website pulls off of the NSDA website. So when it's time to register, I hit continue, and you come to this very, very confusing registration page. There's nothing pleasant or happy about it. Hey, look, people have been registering. This is very exciting. We are a level 2 district, which means if we have 4 entries, we can send 2 to nationals. So right now, we can send 2 to nationals in every event, which is really cool. And that is kind of our goal. We need way more entries in IEs and way more entries in debate to send 3. We very rarely send 3. Sending 2 is typically what ends up happening. So let's talk about how you're going to register for a tournament. As you can see, there's some tabs up here, and they're a little wonky because there we go. So you're going to click on your squad tab, and you're going to see that you have a list of all the students who have been propagated, and then you click on entries, and I've already put in entries. I think what I'm going to do is drop my entries to show you how we can I think I'm going to show you how I'm going to drop my entries so that I can show you how to get started right from the beginning, because it's not intuitive right from the beginning. Okay, so here we go. You've got a clean entry screen with no school, and there's this little red tiny link down at the bottom, create entries. So you're going to click on that. And then you get all of this nonsense here. It's a lot of stuff up here. This part I'm going to highlight is super important. This tells you, based on your NFL strength, how many entries you can take to this tournament. This is a super limited registration tournament. The larger, the more strength that your charter, your program has, the more stickers that are on your students' certificates, the more students you can bring, the more entries you can bring to this tournament. Sprague's strength this year is 61 and characteristically low, but that's what happens when you graduate 20 seniors. So we're at 61, which means I have 15 events, entries for this tournament. Duo counts as 1, policy counts as 1, public forum counts as 1. So basically what that means is I can enter 15 events. Not necessarily students, because students can still do multiple things. Like if I had students double enter, I could bring 7 students plus 1 more to do a single event. It also tells me that I can put 5 students in a House and 2 in a Senate when it comes time for NAT quals for Student Congress. More on that later on this month. When it comes time to actually print your registration, you can download the registration form with the people already typed into where they need to go. I'll do that near the end. Right now, this part is telling me that I have no students competing. So what I have to do is come down here to the bottom, non-participating squad members. And there's nothing down here that says in bold what to do. You have to read this whole part right here. And as you can see, it's tiny font. To enter a student in a tournament, click on the student's name with your mouse. Okay, so I know that Jonah, who, he's Jonah, right? He's going to be in humorous and dramatic. So I save him. Now he's taken up 2 of my spots. So I've used 2 of my 15 spots. Now it's time to go to Brandon. Yes, Brandon is going to be competing, and no, there's nothing you guys can do about it. He's taking up 2 spots as well. Dramatic extemp, domestic extemp in Lincoln Douglas, humorous interp, and dramatic interp. Now, why are these numbers down here and below? Because you can have a maximum of 4 entries per event. Sorry, if you have 8 public forum teams, you're going to have to pick your top 4. So, I know I got Blake going. And don't know about whether or not his partner has become a member yet. Nope, I don't see her name down here. We'll have to fix that. And so you go through this process of registering everybody. And pretty soon you start to build this list. I'm going to go ahead and stop here because I don't have everybody down here with gold stars next to their name yet. I have to get about 4 or 5 more people. But as you can see right now, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm already halfway done with my entry list. So it gets pretty full pretty fast when you've just got like 15 spots. But my team is small this year, so I don't think it's going to be a huge problem. Now that I've got Jonah with his interps, down here I have to click that Jonah has a humorous interp. It has a title, which I don't remember the title. Why do I not remember the title? Oh, this is terrible. Anyway, title, author, and then write in the ISBN number, and then you will save it. When you're all done, you can print this link, and it will create this lovely document. Now, you're going to still have to type in your school, Sprague High School chapter, Mount Hood Community College, March, 19, 20, and 21. But it has the names of all the students already in here. Now, you can't save this document. You have to print it. But when I remember the HI and DI information for Jonah, it will also be printed in down here. You have to sign here. Your principal has to sign here, and all of your students have to sign here. What are they signing for? Well, you're signing for a lot of things. That all of your students are full-time undergraduates who have not attended a secondary school during more than 9 semesters, are under the 20 years of age, were enrolled as members of the NFL 7 days before the start of the tournament, and are eligible to compete to the prescribed rules as published in the district tournament manual and the rostrum. There are, of course, other things that you have to worry about down here. Please read all of this, because if you have a student who is, for example, so if you have a student that for some reason isn't eligible to compete, because the district tournament manual talks about students needing to be academically eligible based on their state's activity association. So if you were to come to Nat Quals with a student who has been rendered academically ineligible, we would have to do something about it in a way that we wouldn't necessarily want to. So you have to make certain that you've checked all the eligibility rules, that your students meet those eligibility rules, that everything that's up here about your students are true, so that we don't have to come back later and say, well, look, you know, you all signed this, but it turned out that one of these parts wasn't true. We're going to have to remove the student from competition. Or worse yet, we're going to have to deny that student's, like if that student were to qualify to nationals, we'd have to say, sorry, you know, we can't have you go. So make certain that you take the time to make certain that everything that everyone is signing, everybody knows what's going on, that there are no surprises that have to be dealt with down the road. The judge entries. So right now, like when it's time to enter judges, understand that you have to provide judges all 3 days of the tournament, and that this will tell you like your judge requirements for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday for 7 entries. 2 are required and 2 are provided. So there are no uncovered entries. So this chart down here will tell you what you need. You have to have judges all 3 days. That's the burden of NAT quals. So make certain that you're doing your job to find good, clean, qualified judges to cover Thursday, to cover Friday, to cover Saturday. The fees page is really cool. It gives you a nice itemized little doodad for how much you owe. There's a $20 school fee. Each thing is worth, each entry is worth $15. We spend a tremendous amount of money on food and judges. We go out and try to get as many qualified college judges and people out in the community as we can. Down here it does talk about how to have the checks payable to and the address and everything like that. I do have marvelous invoices and receipts that are bookkeeper friendly, so that shouldn't be a huge problem. And then once everything is done, you can ask for a review of your entire entry emailed to your JOT email address. You want to see the administration page? It's not very exciting. Ooh. It just talks about the various different settings. It's all about settings. There's nothing too terribly exciting. Although I can see who has logged in. Look at all those people who've logged in. Isn't that exciting? So, good times on the administration webpage. Haha. So I really hope that this has been helpful. Hopefully this will get you started on stuff. Hopefully this is a good refresher